Good morning, good afternoon, good afternoon, good evening. No matter where you're watching, what time you're watching, it's good to be back and it's good to see you. Today, I'm going to do something a little different because I am housemateless and Dan, the cameraman, is still out on business trips, so I'm going to have to film this alone today. And we're going to make do with a little technical difficulty because I've got some good, yummy food planned for you today. It's springtime, summer. It's that time of year where you want a snack, you want to be out on the patio, you want to have a dip, you want to have something quick to whip up after work, especially on a Friday or on a Saturday when you're having a friend or a neighbor stop by, having a cocktail, grilling, something fun and yummy that you can whip up, something better than that garbage you can get from the grocery store or that delicious but expensive stuff you can get from your local co-op organically. Tempting, but I got some dips here that are not only retro but delicious and healthy. The first dip that I think I'm going to talk about today is a dill dip, and I got to show you this recipe card because it's hysterical. Hopefully you can see it. I'm hoping if you can. If you can't, that's okay. All you need to know is it's written on a really old recipe card when I was in probably junior high on an acid base recipe card. That's how old this is, and it's turning yellow. And my handwriting doesn't even look like me. It's sabotage. Dill dip was a dip that was popular in the 70s, and if you're old enough to remember, maybe your mom or your grandma made it, and it was delicious, and it's kind of faded from fashion other than seeing it at mass market grocery stores in the prepackaged nasty kind. So we're going to make a riff off of that recipe that my mom made and that I copied in my childish handwriting, and it had a note in here that I copied from my mom, and this was from her friend Sharon, who I don't even know is even around anymore. This is so long ago. So it's actually my mom's friend Sharon's dip that my mom used and we're doing today. So dill dip is kind of an interesting dip with several ingredients that maybe have fallen out of fashion. One is Beaumonde. I haven't heard anybody use this in forever, but it's an interesting seasoning. The only one I know that makes it is Spice Islands, and I guess you could probably make your own. The ingredients are in it salt, celery seed, onion, and unfortunately a little chemical here though. But it's a really fresh seasoning because of the celery, and it's really yummy. I'm supposing you could use celery salt, but I don't think it's quite the same thing. Or you could use celery salt with a little bit of garlic powder as a substitute. This is worth it in every penny that you can get. The rest of the ingredients are all pantry ingredients except for the dairy. It calls for some parsley flakes, and the breakdown is 1 tablespoon parsley flakes, 1 tablespoon Beaumonde, 1 tablespoon good old-fashioned, I buy it in bulk online, dill weed, dried. And then this one you want to stick with the processed ingredient. Trust the science here. You want to use dried onion. Now, you might say, wouldn't fresh be better, or green onion, or onion scapes? No. You want this dried onion because I think it's actually maybe even a chemical thing. There's something about this dried onion. It just tastes different. It tastes better, right? I've tried making it with fresh, and it's good, but it's not got that retro flavor. So you want 1 tablespoon of all 4 of those things, and then you want 1 tablespoon. This isn't Thrive. This is just a generic I buy online and I keep in this container. 1 tablespoon of dried scallions, dried green onions. So 1 tablespoon of all of these. Now I'm having it because this is going to be a dip just for me for Easter. But those are the things you want. 1 tablespoon dried scallions, 1 tablespoon dried onion chips, minced, that's what it's called. 1 tablespoon dillweed, 1 tablespoon parsley. You want to put that together like so. Then the only other ingredients are a cup of sour cream. You can use a lightened one, it'll be runnier, and a cup of mayo. Now use good quality ingredients like the old Ina says, because if you don't, it's going to be really watery and you don't want water. You can always thin a dressing out and thin out a dip, but you can't thicken it again. It's hard, okay? So I use Duke's, although I can imagine that's a debate for another time. And then I use a good quality sour cream. Don't buy the generic store kind. So you just simply add these ingredients in. I'm going to get a whisk here. Mini whisk is good. Now, the key to this particular dress, because you're dressing dip, is you're rehydrating it. So this isn't something you want to make when you're coming home Friday night for happy hour and then turn around and eat it in 15 minutes. You kind of want this to be able to sit around for, I would say, a good 3 hours for this to meld. Because you'll know when it's melded in flavor and taste, because you can smell that sucker as soon as you take the plastic wrap or the lid off. My mom makes this whenever we go to visit her, and the best thing to serve this dill dip with honestly, is crudité, if I said that right, raw carrots, raw cauliflower cut into florets, and raw peppers if you want, okay, and broccoli. This is where this dip sinks. Now, it's probably really good with kettle chips, salty ones, but I think it's the best with, and I hope I pronounced that right, raw vegetables, right? Now, common sense dictates, so with this dip, you know, if it's a hot day, it's got mayo in it, keep that in mind. You want to keep it into another bowl with ice around it, or inside where it's air conditioning. You keep an eye on the time and the temperature. But this dip comes out just absolutely wonderful. I'm going to put some plastic wrap on this, and I'm going to refrigerate it, and I can't wait to eat it tonight, or maybe tomorrow after work. Now, the next summertime, or Easterish, or 4th of July-ish, or Memorial Day type of dip, is one that's different, and I've never heard, to this day, anybody else come up with this recipe. I've looked for it. I've found things kind of similar, so I'm not sure where my mom got this. In fact, I went looking for the original recipe, and I can't find it. I know I have it, but no problem. I don't need it, because it's really one of those things that you can make to your own size specifications. This one, I cut in half, and you can tell for 1 to 2, 3 people happy houring, that's more than enough. But with the full version, with the full cup of sour cream, the full cup of mayo, the full tablespoon of all of those things, I only half the tablespoons in this. This makes a lot. And you can either make a full or a half batch of the dill dip. But this next dip, which is called Western dip, by the way, you can make from very small quantities up into big quantities, okay? It only has a few ingredients. They're key, and they're good, so buy the good basic ingredients. You might have all of these in your pantry. I don't know why this is called Western dip, other than the fact that in the Midwest, there's a style, I don't know if Wishbone makes it or who makes it. It's hard to find out here out in the West where I'm from. But there's a type of dressing called Western, and it has like maybe a little graphic of a bull on it, or a cow, I don't know what it is, which is really kind of a spin-off of Russian, which is also a spin-off of Catalina. I use in this Western dip recipe of my mom's, I use Catalina dip that's pre-made at the store because, number one, it's inexpensive. Western dip out here, if you can find it, is expensive. I don't know why. 2, they offer a reduced calorie one, and I'd rather have less calories. And yeah, that's why I use Catalina, but I call it still Western dip. So it's that Catalina dressing, salad dressing that you get at the grocery store, or the Western brand, if you want to make it exactly the way it's supposed to be. You can add a little Worcestershire to it, cream cheese, this bad boy again, right? And then you can add a little bit of green scallions on top to make it look zhuged up a little bit. So that's a really simple dip. And then also ketchup. So you'll want to buy the good quality ingredients, right? I don't think it matters for the cream cheese. You can cheat and buy a house brand. I usually do. And I'm only making this for just me, so I'm making a small version. If you were making it for a party, I would use a traditional 8-ounce box of your kind of brand cream cheese. Reduced calorie is okay, but it will be a little waterier with their salt present in the dish over time. So regular for that. I used maybe only a third of this, because again, this is just going to be for me, maybe a friend over Easter. That's it. And I put it in the refrigerator, and I forgot to take it out and let it soften. So what you can do, whether you're doing a half of a brick, a full brick, or a little chunk of this, like what I have here, Zap it in the microwave, but only for a second. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a pile of loose cream before you get started, just so it mixes better. So I'll be right back and I'll mix that. Again, apologies for not having the camera be able to follow me, but Daniel is not back yet from his trip. So I'm going to give it a few blasts, not very long, and I can hear it pop and snap. So 9-10 seconds maybe. I'm cutting it short at 7 because I just don't want that to get too much. And I think I might have gotten it just right. See how it's a little jiggly like Jello? That's kind of what you want. Give it a little stir. I actually might hit it up with the microwave again, but I want to talk about the ingredients that you're adding. Now, Mom's, when she would make it, and she would make it when we as a family, when I were kids, my brother and sister and I, would go boating on Sundays after church. She would make this dip because it traveled well in the cooler, in the boat, along with bop and beer and the other stuff that we'd have when we'd go meet our friends and go boating, which is an Illinois term for skiing and riding up and down the Mississippi in the sloughs. So hers was really red. And I don't know if in the 70s ketchup was redder. It probably was. Ingredients were weird back then. But I can't seem to get mine red. What you want to add is just a couple squirts of ketchup. And I know this sounds gross, but bear with me. Depending on how much cream cheese you added. And a little bit of the Western. Or if you want to use the Diet Catalina, that's fine. So you're using like 3 parts cream cheese to, I guess it would be half to 1 part blend of ketchup and Catalina / Western. Okay? I know it sounds gross, but it's not. Then you want, let's just smell, I don't know if it's grown up in the 70s, but that just even smells good. Crazy. For my little amount, I'm saying only maybe a teaspoon of this. If you like onions, add more. If you don't, add less. And then I'm going to probably give that one more zhuzh in the microwave. And the reason why is, yeah, it's easier to handle. But if you don't, you're going to have a hard time blending this, see? It should look somewhat homogeneous. And I've got some kind of harder chunks of cream cheese here who are not playing well here with me. You'll want to stir it, and once you get it a little looser, then you can switch over to a whisk. It doesn't blend as well as the dill dip. But see how it's getting there? I'm going to give it a real quick zhuzh. I'll be right back. Maybe only 7 seconds, so hold on. This dip too, you should chill. But this dip also doesn't require as much chilling as that dill dip does. That's because the dill dip has flavors that has to blossom, that are dry. And this one, the only thing that has to rehydrate is the onions. Okay? So, you want to let those onions rehydrate. There we go. And the flavors meld, even though you don't really have any herbs in here, any dry component. You could even use a mixer. I think my mom used a handheld electric mixer because she is and was more impatient than I. Since I'm making such a small batch, should I put Worcestershire in? I don't know if I'm going to or not. The bottom line is it starts to come together, if you can see, like this. Okay? And it's not runny, right? It's a dip. I'm going to whisk it more off camera, but you get the point. When it's done, it should look like this. Here's a little mini, perfect little plate of crudités. Did I say that right? And dipping this in here is wonderful. I like to cut my carrots on the bias like this, so they become like healthy little chips. Dunk it in there and eat it. It's wonderful. It's also good with pita pretzel chips with this too. But the best thing, for some reason, is carrots, because the sweetness and the crispness of the carrot just sings with this Western dip. So I hope you try these 2 dips. They're really good. I hope you like and subscribe to this channel. And feel free to drop a comment. And I will see you next time.